What's up, YouTube? Jay Riz here. I got a brother on. His name is Lamar. I call him Kent. But I met this guy through the rooms of recovery, and we've just became, really close friends. Good brother. I asked him to be on my show. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Jay Rizzo. I'm an alcoholic in recovery. I ask brothers and sisters to be on my show and basically tell their story about the turmoil of addiction and the wonderful life of living in recovery now. And yeah, so if you guys didn't catch my last video, I was at the Newtown Powwow in North Dakota here. Go check that out. It's in my videos. Kent does have a business. I will put his description of the business down in the description. I'll let you guys, hear from the man himself about his business. He's going to talk about, the wonderful life of living in recovery. So without further ado, my brother Kent here.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? Name's Kent. Go by Lamar on Facebook. Sobriety days 5/24/24. Just trying to pass a positive message of the things that I went through during recovery, still in recovery. But it's I grew up in a pretty wealthy family and was pretty much had everything that I wanted, and got into the drug game and started making money, and then branched out and moved away and ended up messing with some girls and ended up flipping the script and getting into the drugs and alcohol, and just started tearing my life apart. It's a powerful thing when you think you got something under control and you keep doing it, and then you really realize after you start losing things in life that you don't have any power over it. And I didn't want to face the facts that I needed help. I thought I could do it on my own, but I couldn't, and I went downhill from there. But I had some friends back home in Arkansas that looked out for me. Started treatment there, but the cunning, baffling spirit that was in my head told me I was okay. About 4 months down the line, went back out, got back in the same old routine, ended up going to jail, caught a 20-year sentence, which I did 12 years of it because I was just stupid, young at the time, stupid, kept getting in trouble and just kept going to isolation and just pushing my date farther back. But, I met an older guy in there that told me that, you're killing your family. You got 4 hots in a cot in here. They're out there struggling, sending you money, trying to make sure you're good, but you're away from them. So, they're missing a part of their life. And I really realized that. So I started taking programs in there, and pretty much got a lot of my good time back, but I pushed it back so far from getting in the fights and in the trouble, getting drugs in there and selling it and stuff like that, thinking I was Mr. Man, but I wasn't. They let me get away with it for a little bit of time, and then they caught me, and then they hid me for a little while. But once I realized that, I wasn't going to get out of there if I kept doing the same old thing, so I really started seeking God and asking him to help me to develop a new stage of mind, and began to read my Bible on a daily basis, going to church, just surrounding myself with positive brothers.
Did you grow up with religion in your home?
I did. My mother was a missionary. My uncle was a pastor, which I attended his church up until I was 17, and that's when I hit the streets. But yeah, I grew up in a religious background. I was in the church every time the door opened as a kid. And a lot of people say that, preachers' kids or kids that are close to a preacher, they end up the worst. Well, I can attest to that because I did. I was rebellious because I was forced to go to church, even though I learned a lot about the church, a lot about God, about the higher powers, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I pushed, as soon as I got a chance, I pushed it out the door, and I ran head first into the streets, and the streets is what got me caught up, and it's got me sent to the prison for 12 years. But, I started using my resources, and after my 12th year, I went up for parole, and I made it. And I went back to my mother's house for a year. I did great while I was there. But the minute that I got a job and started saving money and got my own house, got my own car, the same old friends that I had out there started popping back up in my life. And guess what? I jumped right back into that same lifestyle, and I went backwards again. 6 months after that, I was out in the streets selling drugs, partying every night, just just doing anything that a person could dream of and think you're not going to get caught up in it after a while. Well, you can't. So about 6 to 8 months after I got out and got back out there in the streets and started drinking and doing drugs and smoking weed and just whatever I could get my hands on to just feel good about myself, I did it. But what happened was I ended up getting drunk one night, and I caught myself trying to make it home, and I ran off the road. And when I woke up, there was 5 state troopers around me, and they took me to jail, held me for 72 hours, and what I didn't realize was they were going to call my parole officer. And the next day, I wake up to a knock on my cell door, and my parole officer's there. Well, I got violated. I had to go back to prison for another 6 months. So it really killed my family, my mother especially. Her health was deteriorating the first time I went in, but the second time when I went back and I called her and told her where I was at, it was like she started to give up. I'd call home every day to check on her, and she was doing bad. Ended up in the hospital about 3 months into my violation time, and she wasn't doing well at all. But by the grace of God, she hung on until I got out of there, so I could come home. I stayed with her for probably 8 months. She was doing pretty good. I ended up moving to Maryland, where my wife was working. She took a travel nurse position while I was in prison, and she moved up there to try to get a lifestyle, which was her game plan for me, is to get me away from my old lifestyle. And I didn't think of it that way until after I got out. So once my mom was doing better, I ended up going to Maryland with my wife and just trying to live a good life. Got a job, a nice job. I stayed there for a year and got promoted to a manager of a clothing store. And I was doing awesome. And she took another position, which actually moved us to New Mexico. And we stayed down there for 12 weeks. And that contract ended. We ended up moving here to North Dakota. Well, I thought I was doing okay. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking any weed, doing any drugs or anything like that. Got a good job at a place here called Nelson International as a parts salesman, and that lasted pretty good. Kind of got into an altercation with my supervisor. I had done a sales at the company that had a great commission on it, and it was taken away from me because I wasn't supposed to take the call. And any way you look at it, I took the call, I did the paperwork, I put the order in, so that's my sale. I don't care how you look at it. So when I confronted him about it, he told me that I was on probation for disrespecting him, and I said, you know what, I don't care about the disrespect. You took money out of my mouth, my family's mouth, so you can have this job. And from that point is when that cunning, baffling spirit hit me hard, and I started going out drinking. Trying to hide it from my wife, but there was no hiding out. I come home and smell like alcohol, smell like weed. And she dealt with it for probably about 6 to 8 months. And she told me that if I didn't go get help and stop doing what I was doing, she was going to leave me. And I did go get help. I seeked help at the church that I was going to at the time. And things got back on track again. But I messed around and met another buddy from work, and went out and got drunk with him again. And when I woke up the next morning, my wife was gone. So from that day up until May 24th, I was on a drinking binge. Every day, every piece of change that I had, I was stopping at the liquor store drinking and waking up the next morning doing the same thing. When I woke up on the 24th, I was incarcerated in Burleigh County. And I had another DUI. So they wanted to keep me for 30 days, but I ended up making bond, and I got out. And I called my sponsor that I met at the Garrison retreat last year, and I explained everything to him, and he said, I need you to come see me right now. So when I walked out of the door, I went to the meeting. I met with him, and we talked. I attended the meeting the entire weekend. Um, just walking around with a lot of shame and regret in my eyes and my heart. But what I realize is that's only my conscience letting me know that I know that I screwed up and it's time for me to change. So that's what I did. And I've been going to meetings, doing counseling and sponsoring with my sponsor and working the steps. Um, it's wonderful because there's a lot of things that I was neglecting because of fear. You know, I felt like a failure unless I was drinking or doing drugs. I felt like I couldn't accomplish anything unless I was drinking or doing drugs, or even fitting in with anybody. You know, I felt like I had to be drunk or high on something. But working the steps with him let me know that there is a better way if I open my heart and actually participate and work these steps. And that's what I'm doing. Currently on step 5 now. I'm doing everything that I can to try to get through this because my experience is something that I feel that can help some of the people that's out there that's struggling, that feel like nobody cares about them. Well, I do, because I've been there. And I don't want to see anybody go through anything that I did. And the things that I had to suffer, you know, because of my bad decisions and mistakes. So I'm working real hard on these steps, and I'm understanding. I'm journaling every day, and just trying to write everything down positive, and then reflect on the things that I did wrong in the past to get me in the situations that I was in. Um, it's just amazing that, you know, once you set your mind to things, of how much accomplishment that you can get. You know, I've only been clean, sober for a couple of months, and probably like 18 days or something like that. But the feeling that I've got right now of accomplishment is really big, because right now the business that I started 4 years ago that flopped because I couldn't stop drinking long enough to get orders done. I came and I presented some things here in North Dakota, and these brothers that I've met, they're awesome, and they're supporting me 100%. And I'm doing everything I can to help them with their advertising and producing shirts for events that they hold for, you know, recovering addicts. Because there's one thing that I learned: a recovering addict never had anything to show for in his addiction or his alcoholism, because all that money went towards alcohol. You know, I mean, I remember the days that I'd wake up with the same clothes on that I had on for 4 or 5 days. You know, now I have a house, I have actually 2 cars. I've got my business starting that I'm making T-shirts for a lot of businesses around Bismarck. It's just a sense of accomplishment that I didn't have up until I met these brothers, and I actually put my feet down on the pavement and started working these steps and realizing my character defects and my mistakes that I was making that caused me to keep going backwards. So I'm determined. As Jay Rizzo was telling you guys earlier, I have a vinyl print and design company where I do T-shirts. I can do stickers for your cars, like for your businesses. You name it, I can pretty much come up with it. And if I can't, I have a couple of friends around that can help me to get it designed to where I can produce it for you. So, you know, if you need anything done, just contact Jay Rizzo, and he'll get with me and present the idea to me and let me work on it, and I'll tell you if I can do it or not. But the main thing is, my efforts is basically to show my appreciation to the guys that believed in me and are helping me to stay sober so I can continue my business and have a different life, a productive and positive life. And I'm very thankful for that. It's just, I want to be there for anybody that's out there. On YouTube, you can find me under Lamar Gray. My Black Ice page is under construction right now. I have to get 46 more followers, and they'll publicize it on Facebook. So if you guys look me up, please share, like, and follow me so I can get this page out there, and then you guys can see publicly the things that I'm capable of doing as far as vinyl. The near future, I'll be pretty much trying to get a screen printed so I can do actual pictures and faces and things like that, you know, because I know a lot of people want family murals of you know, pictures that they have to where they can wear it out in public and see people, let people see what their family and their memories. So that's what I'm working on. But right now, my main step is getting these steps worked so I can be a positive influence. I've noticed that Burleigh County, before I got here, everything was kind of sheltered because I really didn't go anywhere. But I've learned that Burleigh County has a lot of drugs and alcohol addictions running around on the streets, and there's nobody out there trying to help these people. And the sad part about it, they're dying, and that's because they don't have anybody to step out there and just grab them. I know it's not going to happen the first time, but if you keep pounding on the pavement, a crack's going to pop somewhere, and you'll get a hold to them, and you'll get them interested. I have to give a shout out to a friend of mine named Bill at church Sunday. He started a program called Destination Elevation, which is a mentoring program for troubled teens they're incarcerated. So what this program does is when those teens are about to get out, we reach out to them and we take them out, we take them to get food, and we talk to them and just let them share, what's bothering them. And then what happens after that is we go home, we pray about it, and we come up with a solution to help them, whether it be taking them to the park, taking them bowling, taking them horseback riding, things that are positive so they can feel comfortable about sharing things that are bothering them. Because our younger generation, if it falls off, we're doomed. So the older generations that's been through the things that the younger generation's going through, please, I advise you to reach out to them, because they are doing this because they don't feel loved. If they don't feel loved, they're going to be rebellious towards anybody that they feel like is just blowing smoke. I was the same way. I did the same thing. People, they said they understood what I was going through, but they had no clue. They never drank, they never did drugs, they never sold drugs. So how can you possibly understand what I went through? You saw what I was going through, but you can't understand it because you haven't done it. So my advice and what I'm trying to do is share my experiences. That way that person that's out there battling addiction or alcoholism will understand that I'm not just saying this. I actually live that life. And this is what I'm doing now to change my life around and stay sober. And I want to pass that on to those young guys, older guys even. It doesn't matter. It's just the person that's struggling is who I want to reach. So, you guys, I really appreciate Jay Rizzo for letting me come on the show. I just hats off to him because he's doing the same thing that I am, and he's moved in a different direction. My ministry is actually making shirts that profess the recovery. There's another brother that I do shirts for that has a show as well. And I support both of these guys 100%. Whatever I can do to help them to get out there and reach people, that's what I'm going to do, because that's helping me. That's me giving back to what I've learned in this recovery program. And it works if you work it, but if you don't, you'll keep going down that road backwards. And you'll never see what's in front of you until you turn around and face the facts. So, reach out to me on Facebook if you just want to have questions or you want to contact information, just to talk with me and maybe ask me some questions about some different things and how I feel about things that you may be going through. I'm here for that. That's what I'm going through recovery for, is to be able to give back and help somebody. If I can reach one person out there that's struggling and I can get them to come across the fence and not straddle it, I've done 100%, and that's all I'm worried about, because that one person is a life saved, and there's too many of them being lost out there right now because no one wants to help them. I am deeply hurt because I've been to several different places, parks and recreation places, where people have been out there drinking and just stumbling around, and people are laughing at them. Instead of saying, "Hey, brother, let me take you home, man. I think you might have had a little bit too much to drink." They're laughing at them, and then who knows, the next morning you may be reading about them in the newspaper or seeing them on the news of having an accident and not being with us any longer. That hurts me really bad, because it's not a laughing situation. It's very serious. We only have one life, and once you stop breathing, you're never coming back. So just please have sympathy for the ones that are sick and suffering, because they actually need help and they don't know how to get it. So it's up to us recovering alcoholics to have any type of sobriety to reach out to them and help them down the right path, to help them keep going forward without straying off and taking a drink. I mean, I've very rarely seen anybody that can get off of it one time and leave it alone without working the steps. So don't think just because you work the steps it's gone away, because it's not. That spirit in your head is going to hit you every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, whichever way you go. It's going to hit you, and it's going to tell you, oh, you can take that one drink, but if you take that one drink, you're doomed. You're back to square one, and that square one may take you to your grave or to the penitentiary. So just honestly, from my working the steps and realizing step one is I'm powerless. That's what you have to realize. That's where it all begins, is being honest with yourself and saying, hey, I can't do this by myself. I need help. Which way do I go? And that's what my recovery is teaching me, and that's what I'm learning, to be able to reach out to those that are suffering, because they're not going to ask for it, because their mind's going to tell them they're okay. Mm-hmm. So you have to recognize when a person's struggling and then reach out to them. My dad used to tell me back in the day, a closed mouth never gets fed, and he's right. You know, that person's mouth is closed, so you can't help them unless you make them open their mouth and tell you what's going on in their head. That way you can help them in the right direction, to help them to stay sober or clean off of drugs, because it's powerful. It's very powerful, and you know, the government's enabling it, you know, and it's just part of the corrupt world that we live in. You know, the drugs is their way of pretty much controlling certain areas of the world population. You know, they let it go out there, and then, you know, if somebody gets too big, then they take them out. But once they do that, there's somebody around the corner that's going to jump right in his footsteps and keep going, and they're not trying to stop it. So, you know, everybody needs to realize that. You know, it was fun while you were out there until you start losing things, or you end up losing someone, or if you end up in jail, or possibly could lose your life, because it's over with then. Once you stop breathing, it's over. There's no more chances. So I just really reach out to those out there. If you're struggling, please, I'm here. My phone number's on Facebook. If you want to call me and just talk to me, just pour it out. I'm here to listen, not to tell you what to do, because I can't. I can tell you what I think may help you, but I can't tell you what to do. I can be a positive influence for you and let you see what I'm doing to stay sober, and hopefully that you'll grasp onto something that I'm doing and apply that to your life and keep going forwards. And if I can't give you the right advice, I have a number of guys that I deal with, sponsors that I deal with, that have way more experience than I do, that can give you some insight on a lot of things. The mind is a powerful thing, and if you have no control on it, that it's like a rag in the wind. It's just flopping. That's what your mind will do if you can't control your thoughts and stay away from things that cloud your judgment and your mentality. So, you know, this is something very serious, and I pray that everyone out there that's listening takes heed to a lot of things that I'm saying, because I've had a bad life, a very bad life, and God has blessed me to still be here and share my story with you. And show you there is hope for a person that tries. But if you don't try, you'll keep going backwards until you fall off the cliff. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want to see that happen to anybody, especially my close friends that I know they're out there struggling. I reach out to them on a daily basis, but the only thing that I can do is plant seeds in their hearts and let them know I'm there for them no matter what they're doing. I'm not looking down on them. I'm not judging them. I can't judge anybody because I've done it myself. And it says in the Bible, you can't not judge a person. The only person that can judge you is God. And that's going to be on the last day. So don't think it's not a chance for you just because you've been out there for 2, 3, 4, 5 years with no help. There's always help, but you have to make that step to walk through that door and ask for it. You know, I just say it again. I am here to talk, listen, and to share my experiences on things that I did in situations that may pertain to something that you're dealing with, to show you that the big book was written a long time ago, and that book lives with me. Every day that I read something in it, it helps me to get through that day. So just if you need help, please reach out. MHA Recovery, they have numerous sponsors that are willing to bend over backwards to help you to get into recovery and help you change your life so you don't end up in jail or dead. I just I don't know. I'm almost at a loss for words because I can't stress the importance of people realizing how dangerous this drugs and alcohol are in this society. So I may be going over and over it again, but it's for a reason, and that's just to show the importance of the destruction that it's causing in this world today. So with that, I'm gonna pass it back to Jay Rizzo, and thank him once again for allowing me to come on his show.
Oh yeah.
Um, and as he was saying, I'm doing some work for him too. I'm trying to come up with some spectacular designs for his recovery warrior. I'm not native. I have a native grandmother, and my sponsor told me I need to look into it. I might have some native blood in me, but these guys have accepted me, and I really thank them for that. As far as helping me when I'm down, there's always somebody that reaches out to me on a day-to-day basis and asks me if I'm okay or how was my day. That that right there speaks for itself. When you have a brother that reaches out to you on a day-to-day basis to see how you are, to make sure that you're starting your day off right, that's what brotherly love is about. And that's what I've learned with the natives, that they have so much love for each other. They don't want any of their brothers and sisters to fall off. And I'm not in Arkansas, which I lived there for a long time, and a lot of my brothers down there, it's like they have the mentality that you can't tell them anything. And I used to be there, but I realize now that I had to suck up my pride, because my pride was what was about to kill me. So just think about that and reach out. Just reach out to the resources that you have. That's what they're put in place for, is to try to help you, to make sure you don't end up killing yourself or end up in jail. So just reach out. Jay Rizzo is a very, very good listener. My sponsor is a very good listener. All the brothers in the MHA Recovery Center, and I believe it's, what is it, Good Road Recovery. Those brothers in there, man, they love to help. I was in a situation where I had to move some stuff, and I reached out to them, and I only needed a couple of guys, but when I opened my door, it was six of them there. So that's the kind of support you get if you just ask for it. You know, it's not feeling shame about yourself. It's just being willing to ask. If you don't ask, you won't have. I've strayed from the Bible a lot, but a lot of those verses are there. I can't quote them out just like it is in the Bible, but it's in my knowledge, and I use that because that's what helps me. If I face something in life, I'll think about a scripture that I read in the Bible, and I'll try to find it. And once I find it, it shows me how to get through that step, that part of my life that's actually pushing me backwards. So, it's one thing. Remember, you're powerless. If you're battling with drugs or alcohol, you're powerless. I don't care what you think. When you wake up the next morning, you're sober, and you're like, oh, I made it through that. Yeah, that problem's still there. It's just waiting for you to slip so it can run in there and put you in a chokehold again. Yep. So don't think for 1 minute that you got control on it, because that's a lie. So please don't, and please reach out. I've given you my story. I've given you options of places that you can contact to try to get help for yourself, and they're more than willing to help. The doors are always open. My sponsor told me, he said, if you're going through something, call me at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Call me so we can work through this together. So that just shows you're not alone. So just reach out. Please reach out and grab hold to this better life that's out there, because drugs and alcohol, that lifestyle has been the same forever. It never changes. It's always destruction. So, Rizzo,
yeah.
I'm turning it back to you.
Oh yeah. So I had a question for you. So you've been in the program for a minute here, and obviously you've started doing your steps. So, what is your perception of a higher power?
A higher power is somebody that knows what you're going through, has the solution, because he doesn't have, whether it be God, whether it be Allah, or it doesn't matter who that higher power is. That higher power helps you to get through that stage, because the word higher means up above to me. So if you reach out to that higher power, that means it's picking you up above your addiction, your drugs, and it's helping you to get over that. That's my perception of a higher power. I choose to say my higher power is God because I grew up in a Christian background,
Yeah.
but I still say higher power because that's what it is in all actuality. You
Yeah.
know, I come from a Pentecostal background, so that's why I say God, because that's the way I was raised. But in all actuality, a higher power is the person that's above all.
Awesome. Hell yeah. So you've read the big book, and we come across the term rocketed into the fourth dimension. Are you aware of that term?
I've heard of it, but I really haven't just researched it, and that's
Mhm.
something that was brought to my attention
Yeah.
last week. So yeah, I'll be getting into that.
Yeah, I always like I wanted to ask my guests like, what does that mean to them? I mean, obviously you haven't been there yet, but I don't know. I've heard it, and I was like, what does that mean, the fourth dimension? You know, it's just from my understanding, it's like I don't know. It's so wonderful. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
it's just like a whole perception of a different reality of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And while when you mentioned that, the fourth dimension, I'm gonna be honest that now that I really actually thought about it, the fourth dimension is the heaven that we talk about in
Yeah.
Christianity.
Yeah.
Because once we leave here, we're going somewhere else. So that fourth dimension, I believe that's what it is.
Okay, cool.
Because it's a place of peace,
Yep.
no more suffering,
Awesome.
no more turmoil, things of that sort. So I would actually say that that's the fourth
Yeah,
dimension
okay.
in my eye.
Yeah, I believe everybody has a different perception of the
Right.
fourth. You know, I just want to know, different, views of the guests that I have on. You know, obviously, I'm getting into the part of asking questions of my guests. And
Yeah.
these interest me. I'm pretty sure the YouTube family out there, want to know these things. And I do know there's viewers out there who are wondering about, recovery, what it is about. Obviously they probably know about being sober, being clean, but
Mhm.
what is recovery? And
Yeah.
this is why we're here. We
Yeah.
want to pass that message.
It's,
hope.
it's a lot involved.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can read and it just jumps
Yeah.
into your heart. It's something that you have to work through.
We have to experience.
That's one thing in our meetings that my sponsor says, and I've heard you say it numerous times. You have to work the steps. You got to put in
Yeah.
the work. You have to physically sit down and think and write this on paper so you can read it.
Yeah.
Because when you read it, it seems like it sinks in your heart more,
Yep.
and you're able to clarify. Okay, I did this, so what do I need to do next to not go back to that?
Yep.
So it's work involved. It's not something that you read and it just stands out to you because
Yeah.
it doesn't. You actually have to physically put in work and
Put
think
in
about
work.
things that you've done and come up with solutions to correct those problems that you went through that caused you to get in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I like calling it boots on the ground.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
medical or a military term, but
Yep.
it just kind of, I don't know, simplified for me. Boots on the ground,
Yeah,
scrape
and
your knuckles up.
My mother was a Marine, so
Oh,
I'm
so
familiar.
you've heard that,
Yeah,
huh?
I'm
I
familiar
heard
with
many
that.
times. Yeah. So another question I had too is, where does the spirit go after we pass?
Spirit,
Do you believe in the afterlife?
I do believe in the afterlife, and to my perspective, once we pass from this realm of life, I believe our spirit goes up to the higher power.
Okay.
That's what I believe, because when I read the Bible, and to my understanding, when Judgment Day gets here,
Mm.
you'll be judged in front of God, the higher power, and if your spirit is not worthy, then you will go to the lake of fire,
Mm.
or you'll go to heaven, which is the eternal life
Yeah.
afterwards.
You know what kind of blew my mind? Remember that movie Gladiator?
Oh yeah,
Remember at the end when he died and he's walking and he's
Yep.
like rubbing his hands on the
in
weed?
the weeds, yeah.
Damn, that
It's-
just like almost made me cry.
I know, and well, it did make me
Yeah,
cry.
because it's like, holy, he made it, man. Like he's in heaven and he's seen
Yeah.
his kid and
Right.
his wife coming. Like,
All of that. It's like everything that you lost in this world. When you go to the afterworld, all of that comes back.
Yeah.
My mother used to tell me about that. She was
Cool.
telling me that it's not. You won't have a physical body like this, but you'll be a spirit.
Okay.
And I really believe that, because if you think about life right now,
Yeah.
we have flesh, but what's
Right.
running this flesh?
Exactly.
It's got to be a spirit.
Yep.
It's got to be. What makes our heart pump? It's got to be a
Yeah.
spirit that makes us go.
Yep.
And if it's a bad spirit, then guess what? You know,
Yeah.
all the bad stuff happens.
Oh yeah.
But once you get into recovery and you start relying on your higher
Mhm.
power, your spirit goes to a different level.
Yeah.
And you're able to see things like the higher power does, which
Oh, yeah.
he knows everything before it even happens. But it's your choice to
Yeah.
follow him and not go down that road.
Yeah. So that being said, do you believe in energies? Do you believe in the energies?
I
Like
do.
Energy field.
I do.
You know,
I
like-
mean, because I've felt it come through my body.
Awesome.
You know, it's like certain situations. Say, for instance, like if you're at work and you work 13 hours a day, the physical body is going to start winding down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you like go off and take a break for like 5 minutes and you come back and it feels like you're rejuvenated. So I believe that's a second energy.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
that's something
Yeah.
that the higher power gives you so you can finish
Yeah.
out your task.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like it was like growing up. I wasn't so much into the religion. Like obviously, probably you guys heard my story down here.
Hmm.
Anyway, in my other videos, but I do believe in like energies. Like when we do leave this earth, we do pass into a different realm.
Yeah.
I mean, it might sound goofy to some people, but for me, just being in recovery, there's a whole different perspective of life now. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not chasing that dragon. I like calling it
Yeah.
that high, that drunk. There's a whole different perception of personal well-being that I'm intrigued in,
Yeah.
and that's what I want to know from my guests, because we are in recovery and it's a whole different.
Totally different.
It's so powerful,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
The energy that I'm seeking now that I've started my recovery and I'm seeing
Mhm.
things differently, is peace.
Oh yeah. There you
Because
go.
in in my addiction, there was no peace.
Right.
It was always devastation.
Was always put your dukes
Now
up
I want a
or-
peaceful life to where I can go
Yeah.
home, be with my wife and kids, and just relax, and not
Yeah.
worry about somebody beating on my door like, hey,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. That's not the life I want. I want a peaceful life.
Serenity.
And that's what exactly. That's what the recovery is giving me.
Exactly, man.
It's keeping me away from my old life to where
Yeah.
I can push forward to get that peace that I need.
Yep.
Not having that peace, it destroyed my family.
Yeah.
And I'm rebuilding that now.
Exactly.
But it takes you 5 minutes to destroy your life, and it takes
Oh,
you
yeah.
almost a lifetime to rebuild it.
Yep. Yeah, like for me now, it's just I accept a lot of things. I don't put up my dukes no more. I don't put up a wall.
Yeah.
I don't hide. I gotta hit this stuff head on, whatever it may be. The
Yeah.
anger. I'm able to identify my anger now and
Oh,
put
yeah.
it in check.
That character beat.
Yeah, anger.
Something that you didn't realize.
The ego.
Yeah.
The ego is a big thing.
Yeah.
Just all these wonderful things you get out of recovery, and you're able to put them in check.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're still there. We're still humans.
But you know how to deal with them better now.
Exactly, that's what's up, man. Hell yeah. But yeah, man, thank you, Ken, for being on my show, man. Like I said before to my other guests, if you want to come back on later down
Sure.
the road, we can check in months down,
Sure.
see how you're doing, see how your
Get-
business is
Get
doing.
some more sobriety under my belt so I can tell some
No,
more.
yeah, there you go. Some experience, strength.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah,
Especially business, yeah.
yeah.
'Cause that's what's keeping me going
yeah,
right now.
that's good. Yeah, I'm glad I met you. Yeah, like Ken said, he is making me shirts and more merch is coming out. So it's just getting rolling. He is wearing a shirt that he made with his
Yeah, it's my Black Ice
Signature,
logo.
yeah.
4 years ago, as I was saying, I started Black Ice, and this was actually a sweatshirt that I did, and I had it on the market for about 6 months,
Mhm.
and I didn't follow through with the legal aspect of it, and I ended up getting kicked out of it.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I'm starting all over now.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything
That's what's
that
up.
I'm supposed to do legally, as far as getting my license, getting my LLCs, also getting this patented. Because if I don't get it patented, you might walk out there and see somebody else advertising it under a whole
Oh,
different
yeah.
name.
It happens.
But I actually sat down while I was in prison and drew this out.
Cool. All right, bro. Well, I'll put Kent's his information down in the description if you guys want to learn about how to contact him and how to contact him. I'll put it all in the description. So look down below. Make sure you guys comment. If you watched the video this long, my name is Jay Rizzo. I'm an alcoholic in recovery. My channel is The Recovery Warrior. You're on it now. We're not so much. I'm not the recovery warrior. Every brother and sister I have on,
Right.
they are warriors in recovery because we fight this battle every day. And if you don't understand that, and you are an addiction, you're using right now, you with 1 minute, maybe an hour, 5 minutes of recovery, you are a warrior in recovery. You know, that sobriety starts with that 1 minute, seconds and inches at a time. You may be on a fence, you may be looking over the edge, but don't jump. You know, don't hit that wall. There is help. You know, reach out. There is a way out. You know, and me and Ken are perfect for that. You know, you can reach us. Comment down below. You know, we're here to help you guys. So, you know, you have any closing words for our Recovery Warrior family out there?
Basically, I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to share my story and show you that I found hope in recovery. I really think that a lot of the the alcoholics and drug addicts out there, or they don't want to come in because they don't feel like they have hope. Well, I was able to get on here and show you that I was where you're at now, but look where I'm at now.
Yeah.
My life has totally changed. I'm sober. I'm happy. I don't even think about it on a day-to-day basis about drinking or finding something to drink, smoke or things like that. I don't even think about that. The only time that happens is if I get into a stressful situation. And what I've learned is I have a brother in all four corners of this world that I can call and say, hey, brother, I'm hurting. I need to talk.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me through that stressful situation that normally I would go out in the first liquor store or the first drug seller I could find. I would stop, hey man, let me get this. And then I'm right back in the same. So it doesn't happen like that anymore for me, and that's because I chose to give in to my weakness, which is being powerless over drugs and alcohol. So just keep that in mind. And just reach out, because that's what we're here for. You know, we've gone through it and we've done it. So don't feel ashamed to talk to us, because we don't judge you. We just want to help you.
Oh yeah. All right, Recovery Warrior family. If you guys like what you see, hit that like. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe. And with that, we will pass. Love you.
Peace.
Bye.